get comments from time to time from people who are really bothered by the term childhood PTSD and the way I use it interchangeably with CPTSD or complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So in this video, I just wanted to talk about the meaning of these terms and the ways that they're different. PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, is a real diagnosis usually used for cases where people had a traumatic event happen in adulthood, like taking part in a violent battle or having a car accident. The symptoms include flashbacks, anxiety, depression, insomnia, social withdrawal, and explosive emotions, among other things. Another second kind of PTSD is complex PTSD, or CPTSD, which is caused by chronic exposure to emotional and physical trauma, such as living through a war, being in an abusive relationship, or growing up in traumatic conditions like abuse, neglect, violence, or addiction in the home, and probably some other serious ongoing traumas. CPTSD that develops during childhood, which is what my content is all about, has some features that are unique from standard adult-onset PTSD. And the science is still very much developing. But based on what we know now, exposure to trauma in childhood causes brain changes that can develop into a set of symptoms that are somewhat different than, say, what a soldier has after a war. The diagnosis is not 100% clear, so I just call this kind childhood PTSD. There's a lot of research going on in this area, and the biggest and most impactful is the ACE study, which has kind of become the standard index for measuring the long-term impact of childhood trauma. The ACE study began in the mid-1990s when physician researchers Vincent Felitti of Kaiser Permanente and Robert Anda of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control interviewed hundreds of study participants about their history of adverse childhood experiences, known as the ACE study. Felitti and Anda created a survey that asks about each of these experiences. Respondents gave themselves 1 point for each experience on the list they checked as a yes. So a person's ACE score is somewhere between 0 and 10. The 10 adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, include physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical neglect, emotional neglect, seeing your mother treated violently, someone with substance abuse problems in the household, someone with mental illness in the household, parental separation or divorce, and incarcerated household members. There are probably many other experiences that ought to be included, like the death of a parent, or being bullied in school, or being targeted with racism, or being desperately poor, or being a refugee. You can take this into consideration when you take the test. And what the ACE survey measures is very general. For example, there's a big difference between having a parent who is depressed for a few months, which is question 9, and one who suffers from schizophrenia all her life. Plus, not everyone reacts in the same way or has the same problems as a result of childhood events. But as a rough measurement, the higher your ACE score, the more likely you'll experience certain problems in your life. So for those of us with high scores, we can be depressed and anxious more than most people. We can overreact to things, and sometimes we have anger problems. We're more likely to be violent and to be victims of violence. We can easily become overweight, especially if there was sexual abuse. We are not so great at the whole first get married and then have kids thing in that order. We have sex younger, and we're more likely to have an unintended pregnancy or abortion. We get stuck in crappy relationships or even violent ones. We are more likely than others to have addictions, including smoking. We have a high rate of diabetes, autoimmune diseases, migraines, chronic pain, and other health problems. We sometimes have problems with focus, attention, and learning, and we're more likely to have money problems or live in poverty. But ACEs are the big new thing in healthcare and social services. Professionals are excited to have a better way to understand what the heck is going on with people like us, why we seem to have a harder time than other people, and get sicker and make some of the same mistakes over and over again. A lot of agencies are changing around their services to try to do a better job of hearing us and helping us. And this, in my opinion, is really wonderful news. So, if you've never taken the survey, there's a link to it in the description section below. But this video at least explains some of my various terminology in relation to standard recognized terms for the way trauma affects people. If you think that you have childhood PTSD, you can follow the links below as well to a quiz and to an online course you can take to start healing your childhood PTSD today. If you got something out of this video, do let me know by hitting that like button. And if you want to receive updates every time I post tips and strategies for healing childhood PTSD, be sure to subscribe. And I'll see you soon.